Israel has rejected a peace plan for Gaza that President Trump announced last month, saying it won't withdraw from the territory until Hamas gives up all its weapons. Hamas said the US must put pressure on Israel to accept the deal. In the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas last October, Israel agreed to withdraw its forces from across Gaza to a designated demarcation, the Yellow Line. From Jerusalem, here's John Donnison.
The war in Gaza never really ended. This was just this week. More than 1,200 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli strikes since a supposed ceasefire was announced last October. Hundreds of thousands remain homeless. There's little doubt Gaza needs a plan. Hamas disarming is a key part of President Trump's plan. It's just over a week since he announced what he called a monumental step. For the first time, Hamas had agreed to give up its weapons if Israel withdrew its forces from Gaza. And at Camp David last weekend, President Trump said Israel was on board.
Israel's very happy about it. Israel helped us, and they've been very good.
But it turns out Israel's Prime Minister is not happy with the plan.
Israel rejects the 15 points document. The IDF will not execute any withdrawal until Hamas is disarmed. And when I say disarming Hamas, it means heavy weapons, less heavy weapons, all weapons. And we are talking about real disarmament, not fictitious disarmament.
So for now, Israel's forces, which fully occupy 70% of the Strip, are going nowhere. This afternoon, Hamas called for America to pressure Israel to toe the line. When it comes to peace in Gaza, for every step forward, there is always a step back. John Donnison, BBC News, Jerusalem.
Well, in a moment, we'll be speaking to Bernd de Boosman, who's in Washington for us. But first to Lucy Williamson, who's in Jerusalem tonight. And Lucy, just spell out what Mr. Netanyahu is objecting to.
Well, there are a number of things in this 14-point plan that are politically problematic for Benjamin Netanyahu. The plan makes clear that Israeli forces will be expected to withdraw in stages, in parallel with Hamas disarmament. Now, that is a very different proposition from the total victory over Hamas that Mr. Netanyahu had promised his voters. The plan also makes clear that if it's implemented, it will create the conditions for what it calls a credible pathway to a Palestinian state. That's something Mr. Netanyahu has said he would never agree to, and he repeated that again tonight. He is already under a great deal of pressure here in Israel. It's less than 3 months to go until the Israeli elections here, and polls suggest that his support is dropping. This would normally be the time that he was touting his close ties to Washington, to the US president. But if you listen to how he talked about it tonight, he was really blunt. He was saying that the Americans, they have ideas. Some of them are acceptable to us, some unacceptable. We know how to stand firm against these things, he said. Donald Trump has already pulled rank, if you like, several times as the senior partner in the alliance, pulling Israel back from its involvement in conflicts around the region, from Iran, from Lebanon. Mr. Netanyahu wants to be seen, particularly in Gaza, as the man who can restore Israel's security. But the danger he faces is that he'll be seen as the man who does what Washington tells him to do.
Well, Bernd in Washington, bearing all that in mind, what does this mean for the relationship between President Trump and Mr. Netanyahu?
Well, President Trump has in the past expressed frustration with Prime Minister Netanyahu and Israeli military operations in Lebanon and Gaza. and in Iran, but certainly nothing of this scale. And it was just 9 days ago that President Trump said that Israel was very, very happy with the deal and had been consulted. Now he's in the kind of awkward position of having to explain why that doesn't appear to be the case. And I think President Trump, we haven't heard from him yet, but certainly he will almost certainly react quite negatively. As was mentioned before, he's often framed himself as someone who has enormous control over Israel, and now that kind of image that he's repeated several times since returning to the White House, that's somewhat been shattered by the Israeli rejection of the plan.
Bernd, thank you. Bernd de Boesman there reporting